Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another review. This is another paid request, this time from Dan. Second of two. And he wanted me to talk about the first date as well as the second one. Now, for those interested in requesting pretty much any type of reactions, reviews, lists, rankings, re-reviews, commentaries, randomness, out of the blueness, whatever, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And I mentioned in the first film, I really liked it despite not knowing who the fuck this kid is. Because it's not Steven Dorff, who's the kid. The same Steven Dorff who would be in Blade as the villain. But I liked its imagination, its creativity. I thought it did quite a bit for its low budget. I thought it was fast-paced, only an hour and 20-some minutes. I was never bored. I thought it had nice... Some people say it's sappy, but I like the heart to it. And I liked how they really tried to be ambitious with the low budget they had. They had stop-motion animation and monsters and little demons and zombies coming out of walls and melting phones. Yeah, there's a few issues. There's opticals are not holding up the best, like when bugs go through a window, or the ending. Some opticals are not the best. I forgot to mention this in the review, but there's a character who's one of the girl's boyfriends, because the sister of Steven Dorff has some other friends. One of them is a guy who, there's a dead dog, he takes him, and then I guess he dumped him in the hole. This guy is like the worst actor, and I forgot about him in the first review because his acting was such dog shit, pun intended, that it's like emptying. It's like when you empty your recycle bin in a computer. I did that in my brain. I'm like, this guy was just fucking sucked. He was so shitty I forgot about mentioning him. But he should have got a comeuppance. If there's one character that needed a comeuppance, was that dumb motherfucker. But overall, I still really enjoyed the movie. Now the sequel, not so much. Number one, you didn't need a sequel. Number two, it came out, I guess they made it in 88 or 89. And then it took years to come out to like places say 1990, but other places say 1992. I'm just going to say 1990 for the shits and diddles. If it's wrong, oh well. It's the date too. I know there are fans of the film. Teach their own. I'm not. If you're a fan of it, cool. I will stick with the first movie. Again, despite not knowing who the fuck this is on the cover, because Lionsgate, it's an old film. We want to market it as a new film. We want people to think this is a new film, not an old film, even though it's the old film. Because Lionsgate were fucking stupid. I know there's a Vestron Blu-ray, I just haven't picked it up. But there's a Blu-ray of this too, and I'm like, really? There's a Blu-ray of this film? Like, that sucks. Like, we don't have a Blu-ray of this, either of these movies. We don't have a Blu-ray of Watchers, we don't have a Blu-ray of Watchers 2, but there's a Blu-ray of The Gate 2. That fucking sucks, in my opinion. If you like the film, obviously you disagree. But the reason I don't like it is because it's R-rated, but it feels tamer than the first film. The only reason it's R-rated is because a couple cuss words. There's no nudity. There's really no gore. The characters here, in the first film, I should say, I like Steven Dorff. I thought Tripp was a better kid actor than as an older actor, because he was in the transition of his puberty, so to speak. And even the sister character in the first film I didn't mind. Here, maybe I didn't mind the one girl who became the love interest. I didn't mind her attitude. But Tripp, I don't think he was a good lead. I think he works better as a secondary character, like in the first movie. This kid here with the glasses. I do think he works better in a secondary role. As a lead, I just didn't think he worked. I didn't buy him. I thought his acting was not the best. The story, Steven Dorff's family has moved away because Steven Dorff didn't come back for this, which is another issue. And like I said, you didn't need a sequel because it all summed it up in the first movie. It's just the first film became a decent-sized hit because it came out the same week as Ishtar and made almost as much money as Ishtar, but Ishtar was the film that was supposed to be this big success. I was like, wait a minute, this low-budget horror film Made almost as much, and in the long run, probably it made more than Ishtar. So that's how it got a little bit of claim to fame. Here, Louis Tripp is older. He's into demonology. Satan, as he calls it, it's demonology. Satanism is for pussies. And he's doing this ritual, fucked with Satanism again. And I'm like, why the fuck are you doing it again after the first movie? But the reason they're doing it, and they at least try to give an explanation where his dad, because established in the first film, the mom had passed away. His dad was alcoholic. He was a pilot, but he was on hard times. And Louis Tripp, his best attempt at acting is the scene where he describes to the girl who will be his love interest that one day he found his dad had a gun in his mouth, and what if he does it again? That's probably the only bit of positive I could give about the film, is that at least they tried to attempt a rationale as to why he would delve into this again, and that he's doing it for the right reasons. And like I said, that moment, Louis Tripp is trying. It's just the rest of the film is so fucking boring and unremarkable. And there's an even lower budget. There's a higher rating with the R rated, and nothing's done with it. Like I said, I think this is tamer than the first film. The first film, you had what they thought was Stephen Dorff's parents, but then the face falls off, and this, you didn't have that at all. Louis Tripp doing a ceremony with two bullies and one of their girlfriends, the three of them coming in, and immediately, just immediate reaction of, what are you doing? Oh, I'm doing this with demonology, Satanism for pussies. Okay, let's join. Like, they're very fucking easy to join instead of beating Louis Tripp up and taking his lunch money. I mean, these must be the most bored bullies in film history. So they just bust in on his ceremony, they join him, and these characters are fairly unlikable. Again, except maybe the girl. Again, I didn't mind her attitude. But like the two bullies, one of them is doing a fairly over-the-top, I don't know, he was trying to be Vinny Barbarino. I don't know what he was trying to do. Hey, I want to do it, you know. And the other is like, I don't know what, just over the top. They just seem very over the top in their performances. Pretty much the ceremony doesn't go the best. This movie's so cheap, it can only afford one little demon. These guys here, that were a multitude of them in the first movie, they can only afford one of them. And they think it's dead. Louis Tripp takes it. It's actually alive. And then I guess somehow these things can garner wishes. Okay. Why not, I guess. And so the big section of the film is just characters wishing for shit. If I want to see that, go watch Wishmaster. Or even Wishmaster 2, sadly, is a better movie than this. Although I'll take over Wishmaster 3 and 4. That's not saying much. But when I say they do wishes, like Louis Tripp wishes that his dad will get his act together. And it seems like he does, but then he gets into an accident. The girl wishes for a car and money, and the bullies then steal the demon, and they wish for shit. But then the thing that people remember the most out of this movie, which tells you how good this movie is, at least in my opinion, is the wishes literally turn to shit. Like literal shit. Like after a day or so, their wishes literally turn to shit. Now, why? I think they tried to explain, but I don't remember what the fuck the explanation was. Like, why did you get the wish in the first place if it was just going to turn to shit? Why, or why is it a day it takes for it to turn to shit? Whatever, it turns to shit. Literal shit. And I'm like, that is such a goofy idea for what is supposed to be, yeah, there's humor in it, but it's still supposed to be a horror film. I mean, you look at the cover, I'll put the cover here. Does that cover look like a film where it's about wishes that turn to shit? Literal human shit? Look at that poster. And then you tell me if that's the kind of film you're thinking of. Not me. What's this? Farting zombies? Like fucking spookies? So, not much really happens in the middle other than that. And then the third act is the boys that took the one demon, they're having dinner in a fancy schmancy place. One, I guess they pissed off the one little demon so much that now that they're turned to a demon and then escapes the restaurant. The other bully gets with the two leads. Then they go to this like factory building, and then the other bully starts turning to a demon. But then I don't know, then for some reason it takes longer for our lead to turn to a demon, even though he fought the little guy first and he made the first wish. But for some reason it's taking him the longest to turn to a demon. And the girl never turns to a demon, I guess because they need to be a sacrifice. And then it kind of becomes 2 against 2. And you get a couple bits of makeup where Louis Tripp is in makeup and one's in like one of the bullies is in a full bodysuit makeup. But I mean, it's nothing to run home about. You tell that the budget was just not there for this. It was just not there. And just a lack of ambition, a lack of creativity, a lack of budget, and a lack of point. Like, this movie did not need to be made. And it goes to show you that the one thing people remember the most is that the movie where wishes are turned to shit? Does that kind of say enough about what the fuck the movie is? Shit. So, I don't think it deserved a Blu-ray. In my opinion, at least, Murder by Phone with Richard Chamberlain is only on VHS. These films are only on an out-of-print, shitty DVD that's pretty much VHS quality. But, hey, every movie has its fan. So, on the flip side, hey, you got a Blu-ray for the fans of the film. Glad you got your Blu-ray. Now, I just wish some, now, can we do Murder by Phone with Richard Chamberlain on Blu-ray? Can we do Watchers 1 and 2 on Blu-ray? Can we get some other movies on Blu-ray? The fuck did The Abyss and True Lies aren't even on Blu-ray. But the Date 2 is. Can't have The Abyss or True Lies on Blu-ray, but the Date 2? Sure. But it's different companies. I know it's all deal with the companies, directors, rights. I know. But anyway. The Date 2, there's not much to say about it. It has a bit of a goofy ending. Spoiler alert. The goofy ending is you think Louis Tripp died and you think the bullies died and the girl is with Louis Tripp's father at a funeral, but then Louis Tripp comes out of the coffin and the bullies come out of the coffin and everybody's fine, and they try and do like the ending to the first film where you think Louis Tripp and the sister are dead, but then they come out and then they hug Stephen Dorff. But that just seemed less goofy in that one than it did here. It kind of reminded me of the scene in Elm Street 4, The Dream Master, where Lisa Wilcox has a daydream of her brother coming out of the coffin. But that was part of a daydream, and that worked better in that movie than it does here. I'm not a fan of this movie. The characters I don't really find that likable. I don't think Louis Tripp works well as a lead. I think it's fairly boring. It's fairly tame. A good chunk of the middle, nothing really happens other than wishes turn it. And the finale, you tell that the low budget was just hurt the film quite a bit. And the first film had a low budget, but this must have had an even lower budget. And just comes off with a sequel that wasn't needed. It wasn't scary, it wasn't funny, and it wasn't creative or imaginative. So what do you have? Not much. Again, when your imagination goes so far as, let's have wishes, but they turn to little shit. That's your best gag in the movie? Doesn't impress me. But hey, to each their own. So with that said, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.